EFF leader Julius Malema has instructed his party's lawyers to attach former President Jacob Zuma's Nkandla home over the money he owes the EFF. Malema made the comments yesterday saying that Zuma used the money to pay lawyers in several of his legal challenges. Malema's statement comes after several members of the EFF, including his former deputy Floyd Shivambu, defected to Zuma's Umkhonto weSizwe party. Political analyst Dr Levy Ndou joins us now to weigh in on this matter. Let's talk then about what we are currently seeing publicly being displayed, Dr Ndou, in as far as the EFF and the MK Party is concerned. Just how deep is this rift between the EFF and the MK Party? And perhaps also how far back do you think it goes? I mean, further to Malema's statement yesterday, he's also made it clear that the MK Party is the EFF's main enemy.
Good afternoon, Unati. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. It's important to note that in the political game, you're always going to observe this kind of rivalries because political parties are constantly in competition. And obviously, when the other party appears to be doing better, the other party has to get worried. The EFF was the third largest political party in terms of support, and that is what we have observed after two general elections in South Africa. The MK Party came in and they've taken the position of the EFF. That could be a worrying factor for the EFF. But to add on that, the MK Party would constantly recruit and what we would refer to as prominent members of the EFF to the MK Party. And when they do that, they make an announcement in order to show South Africans that the EFF appears to be the fertile ground for the MK Party to go and hunt. And that could be the reasons why the two parties appears to be rather at loggerheads. Another factor that we need to look at as well is that the departure of Floyd Shivambu from the EFF to the MK Party appears to have been a much bigger blow on the part of the EFF, and that is why they actually now refer to the MK Party as their first or their main target as their enemy because of the rivalry that is informed by their historical political background.
Let's speak about this big blow that this might pose. I mean, Malema's stance is a deviation, when you think about it, from his posture during the run-up to the May 29 elections, where he said he was willing, in fact, to work with the MK Party. I would imagine that at that time, nothing was known. But it was something that seemed very plausible at the time, given some of their political agendas or mandates. So the question I would imagine now is, going into their elective conference next month, how would you gauge the confidence levels of the leadership of the EFF as it tries to reaffirm its relevance to its members?
One of the observations I've made is that there are members of or former members of the EFF who have been very close to former President Jacob Zuma. And they continue to be very close to Jacob Zuma whilst they retain their membership in the EFF. And that, for me, should have created an element of suspicion on the part of the EFF that there is a possibility of anything to happen with these members, because they could have been spending a lot of time with Jacob Zuma than with their colleagues in the EFF. But my view, as we move towards the elective conference of the EFF, this could be an opportune time for the EFF to be able to find itself, identify the challenges that they face, and therefore pick up the pieces and build a very, very strong political party. Another area that, in my view, has to be looked at, which Julius Malema has always been raising, is that there could be people who have infiltrated the EFF. And those are the sentiments that have been raised even years back when the EFF was being formed. There were suspicions on the part of the leadership of the EFF that there could be people who are coming from the ANC who have infiltrated the EFF. Now it appears as if the MK Party has also done the same with the EFF. And my view is that it is possible for the EFF to identify right people who can lead the party, identify right people who associate with the party, who love the party, give them responsibilities in the party, and therefore build from there. We could still see the EFF going back into its own roots and occupy the third position in the South African political level.
And just speaking about the ANC, as the MK Party turns one next month, it also seems to have set its sights on unseating the government of national unity. Of course, they've been saying this for some time. Former President Jacob Zuma is also even more determined now to destabilize the ANC after his appeal with regards to the expulsion from that party fell flat. His deputy, Dr. John Hlophe, in fact, yesterday confirming on this channel that the MK Party is busy mobilizing against the ANC. What are you reading in as far as that is concerned?
It is an ambition of every political party to ensure that at the end of the day, they become a government. It is also reflected by the ambition of the MK Party that their own vision and mission is to, at the end of the day, become the government of South Africa. That is not something that we should not expect. It is what political parties are formed for in order for them to, at the end of the day, become a government. If there is any political party that wants to win the elections in South Africa, the best strategy is to ensure that the party that has got the bigger majority, which is the ANC, has to be disorganized. You must go and recruit from the ANC, make sure that the ANC becomes unpopular. And that is what other political parties are doing, because if you leave the ANC strong as it is with the support that they have, you might not be able to become a government in the near future. And the Jacob Zuma strategy, it's working well for him, because each time he is associated with the ANC through disciplinary committees, through different appeals, it builds on the momentum of the MK. They are able to always point fingers at the ANC and say, we are being victimized by this ANC of the so-called Ramaphosa, and then they're able to build the momentum from there. As to whether they'll be able to dethrone the government of national unity, it will depend on a number of factors. Factor number one, the cohesion of the GNU, whether they all agree, implement on their programs, but also whether they'll still be able to get sufficient support in their plan to overthrow the government of national unity.
Dr. Ndou, thank you so much for that. Of course, let's leave it there for now, but thank you so much for weighing in on that matter. Political analyst Dr. Levy Ndou just weighing in on the relationship between the EFF and the MK Party in the main, also talking there a little bit about the ANC.